Good morning, Dopey. Your favorite podcast. Now able to show.
Good morning, Dopey, and welcome to another episode of Good Morning, Dopey. My name is Dave, and I am joined by strung-out author, unlicensed advice columnist, and frequent crier when she reads the Daily Reflections, the great Erin Carr. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
You ready to weep a little bit?
I am. I'm like, what if I weep every time I do this?
That could be a cathartic
Then
experience.
what's God telling me?
You know what God's telling me is that we got to do something about poor Howie. Howie, welcome back to the Daily Reflections. Howie's out of his fucking mind. He's totally lost
I need
it.
this today.
You ready?
Yes, go.
Right. Howie, how are you?
Don't ask me that.
Okay. We've spent hours setting up. Howie spent 3 hours because he heard a hum in the microphone this morning. He replaced the microphone 3 times, placed it back. Then he had a problem with the way the cable was gripping the mic stand, which was just...
That's what she said.
In the beginning, I was okay with it. Now I'm getting hungry. All right, here we go. You ready? This is a good one. This is one of my favorite cliches. Keep Erin up there because I like to see her reaction to this thing. You ready, Erin?
Okay.
We can't think. This is February 13th. We can't think our way sober, Howie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Howie's sobriety, his emotional sobriety is not so checked in right now. He's
Can
emotionally.
I just tell you what's fucked up is I already feel emotional from you saying we can't think our way sober. But go
See,
ahead.
it's funny. Maybe your initial resistance to all the daily reflections was they hit too hard for you.
Maybe. I didn't feel this way listening to you read them like recorded.
That seems like a backhanded insult. That seems like some kind of passive-aggressive insult against the daily reflections. Here we go. Oh, like, subscribe, and notify.
Yeah.
Howie coming through. Yes, Here we go. We can't think our way sober. To the intellectually self-sufficient man or woman, many AAs can say, yes, we were like you. Far too smart for our own good. That's like you, right, Smarty, Erin? Where'd you go to school?
In California. You mean the name of the school?
Yeah.
What? Which school? Elementary school? High school?
College.
Oh, I went to USC and dropped out and went back, dropped out and went back. Then I went to the Sorbonne in Paris, and then
Sorbonne.
I didn't finish college
For
until I was
cooking?
in my 30s. I went back to school to finish my last bit of college at the new school.
Howie wants to know if you went to the Sorbonne for cooking.
No.
Is that a cooking school?
No, it's not a cooking.
No,
I thought
it's
I got
it's a
confused
major
with
university
sorbet.
in Paris. It's like the big university in Paris.
I was thinking
Right.
I like peach sorbet.
Right.
Sorry. And then you finished. Where did you finish?
At the new school in New York. I didn't
Eugene
finish
Lang.
until I was in my 30s. No, the new school for social research.
Isn't that the Eugene Lang School?
It's the new school is comprised of like a cluster of schools, and Eugene Lang is one of them. My husband went to Eugene Lang.
Did you meet him there?
No, I didn't meet him. He went when he was like college age. I didn't finish until like I decided in my mid 30s, like, oh, I never finished my degree because I was such a fuck up, and now I'm going to go back and finish the little bit of school I have left. And I did, and that's when I started writing.
That's awesome. Maybe I should
Yeah.
go back to school. You know, I learned how to play harmonica at the new school. I was in a harmonica group there.
Jesus Christ.
They called me Little
Wait.
Dave.
Wait,
What a
did you
waste
didn't
of
go
money.
to did you go to the new school?
I took a class when I was 15. I took a harmonica class. I was Little Dave. That's what they called me.
That's
What,
funny.
Howie? What's
It
your
sounds
problem?
like an extraordinary waste of money.
I can really play, though. Have you ever heard me play harmonica?
Who gives a shit? What? That's not a useful skill.
I think it is.
Oh, please don't.
Wait, can I just tell you I'm a little distracted. I have a very puffy shirt on today, and I feel like that.
That's a
remember that like
Seinfeld
episode
episode.
of Seinfeld with
Yeah,
like the puffy
puffy
shirt?
shirt.
Because I'm like, ooh,
pirate-
I'm all puffy.
Oh.
Huh?
You know what would go great with that?
New school?
An ukulele. Yeah, that's great.
No, you're not into it?
No, I want
You
you,
know
to
that
get
that
ukulele.
that Franklin would love this. My little one like is obsessed with the harmonica and obsessed with Bob Dylan. It's very
Nice.
weird.
But that's pretty sweet harmonica playing, right, Aaron?
Yeah, that is.
All right.
I wouldn't
Howie.
even know what
They
bad
did you
harmonica
right.
playing. What does bad harmonica playing sound like?
Howie, what's wrong with you? You don't think that
Really?
sounds good?
You've never heard bad
Play
harmonica
the harmonica
playing?
poorly. Let me hear that.
I'm too good to play it poorly.
It's going to sound the same. Like I said.
Howie's obsessive
It
compulsive.
doesn't sound the same.
He makes me crazy. He's driving me nuts. He's not emotionally sober. All right, thank you.
There's
All right.
no more annoying instrument.
Howie, what are you going against the harmonica for?
It's too much.
What's too much?
The harmonica.
You know what's too much? 4 hours of you changing cables because you hear a hum.
That's not my fault.
That's too much. The harmonica is a bluesy, rootsy instrument that me and Franklin both really appreciate, right, Aaron?
Yes.
How do you put down my incredible bluesy, rootsy harmonica playing? He's a sick person.
I want to hear the daily reflection. I need to get
Denial's
centered.
not just a river in Egypt, Howard.
That's
Here we go.
Okay.
Even the most brilliant mind is no defense against the disease of alcoholism. Right, Aaron?
This is true.
I can't think my way sober. I try to remember that intelligence is a God-given attribute that I may use. A joy, like having a talent for dancing or drawing or carpentry or harmonica. It does not make me better than anyone else, and it is not a particularly reliable tool for recovery, for it is a power greater than myself who will restore me to sanity, not a high IQ or a college degree. Yeah, this doesn't seem like a good Aaron Carr daily reflection.
Not
It's not a
really,
cry.
because me being smart wasn't. Oh, you mean because you're not going to get tears out of me? You never know.
So, Aaron, what do you take away from this?
So, I mean, it resonates with me because I think that part of the reason that I was able to get away with using drugs without people finding out for so long is because I went to like a prep school and got really good grades, and I was smart, and I was like the kid they pulled out of class and to test your IQ, and went to go to these stupid conventions and things, and like
Humble bragging Aaron at it again.
I knew you were going to say
We
that.
get
but
it.
my point is
You're
that
smart.
it means
We get
no,
it.
no. It's not, but it means nothing. Like, it just means that I knew how to take a test. I knew how to do like logic tests, right? I'm 100% sure if you tested my IQ now, it would be lower than it was when I was a child, for sure.
Of course.
But like, my point
definitely
being
not
that
higher.
like it didn't serve me well. What it did was that it gave me the skills I needed to, I knew how to morph into whoever I needed to be for the person in front of me, right? So I knew how to go buy drugs with my boyfriend from, Lennox Division Crips. I knew how to go
What's
to
Lennox Division Crips? Was that gang?
Yeah.
Is that a grimy humble brag? That your boyfriend was such a badass he was in the Crips?
He wasn't in the Crips. We bought drugs from somebody in the Crips.
Okay, just making sure.
This is, it was the late 80s. I was 13, So, I mean, but my point is that I knew how to like shapeshift in to be the person that I needed to be, and I used my intellect to do that. I knew how to read people. I knew how to read situations. I have that, like, I don't know if it's as good as it was, but I definitely tend to have like I get like an energy read off of people, right? Like I can kind of like I have instincts about people and then would act accordingly. So it served me well until it didn't, right? So I definitely think that when I was trying to maintain sobriety, that my overactive thinking impeded me from being able to do this does make me a little emotional, to do the emotional work that I needed to do. And part of that emotional work was learning how to not be in my brain and just be in my body.
And also
And-
that you didn't need to morph, that you needed to find a way to be yourself.
And that was my biggest fear, right? My biggest fear was that always, like with everybody, my fear with my parents was that they would find out who I really, they would find out that I had like suicidal ideation and that I cut myself, and then later that I was doing drugs, or that I had been, had been sexually abused. I was so afraid of people finding things out and then they would look at me like this monster, because that's what I felt like. I had this like internal thing that like I felt like a monster, right? So it was all this shape shifting. And with, you know, I think in like romantic relationships, it was always like, I always thought of it, not just in romantic relationships, but in general. Did you ever see that movie, The Craft, with
No.
Fairuza Balk? And are you serious?
No, but
Maybe it's more of like a girl thing.
I'm sure Howie saw
but-
it. He's like a girl.
It was like they were witches, like in high school.
Hold on, Howie,
It was
did
like
you
a
see this
big
movie, The Craft?
Yeah, who was in it? A few famous women. were in
Fairuza
it.
Balk and Robin Tooney, and like
Nope,
she
never
goes
saw
to
it.
the school and they like form a coven, and then Fairuza Balk loses her mind.
For
it was a
who?
big movie.
You know
Fairuza
Fairuza Salk.
Balk.
You know her. She was in an
my
indie rock band
God.
too.
Oh my god.
What are you singing?
Isn't that
Sanford and
Veruca
Son?
Salt?
No, that's the Breeders.
Oh,
Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
horrible.
So in that they do this thing called a glamour, which is where like you can like trick somebody into seeing you, like changing your face or to seeing something that isn't there. So I always felt like I felt so physically ugly and so like that people, if they saw who I really was, they would like run in like horror. Like, so I think I had this thing, like I really believed that like I had somehow performed like a glamour for everybody in my life, whether it was like the guy I was going to have sex with or have a relationship with, or the friend that I had, or for my parents or my teachers or whoever it was. I thought like somehow I was tricking them all. So when I started learning to talk like this, it was really scary for me, because I knew how to have like a fast-paced conversation. I knew how to have an argument. I knew how to shapeshift, but it was really, really challenging for me to be emotionally intimate with people. And now, and I still probably struggle with that. Now I can do it like when it's like a public thing like this. But I couldn't do that before, you know? Like I couldn't have like the idea of like being honest about like the feelings I had about myself were horrible. Like I was like, I have to be a poker face at all times. And so I think that, you know, thinking really does get in your way with sobriety. And I think that a lot of times people who are, you know, quote unquote smart people, whatever that means, people who are
Right.
quick and like, and they have those kinds of minds that are like, have that sharpness to them, sometimes have a more difficult time getting it, because it feels like the only thing they've ever had, like I'm speaking for other people, for me, like it felt like the one thing I felt sure of was my ability for my brain to work in an intellectual way, to like outsmart things, right? So if I couldn't outsmart like addiction, then I didn't even have that.
Right. I get that, and I tried to be like, I was smart when I was a kid, but not book smart. You know, I was very capable of manipulating and stuff, and kind of like reading people and reacting properly to what was necessary.
But that's why you're a good podcaster now too, an interviewer, you know.
The thing that it reminds me of my current favorite AA cliche, which is we cannot think ourselves into better action, but we can act ourselves into better thinking.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think that's the name of the game. Like this is more like, it doesn't matter how smart you are, God will get you sober. That's what this is saying. It doesn't
Right.
matter how smart you are, it's God that's going to get you sober. And I think that's fine. But I think that's great. But I think also, if you do what the work is, it doesn't matter how smart you are. If you're super smart, that's great. If you're an idiot, that's fine. But if you do the work, you can get yourself sober. Like Howie has had a really rough day, but now he has some sort of tranquility. What do you get out of this, Howard?
What do I get out of this? I don't know where to begin with this. You're asking me, what do I get out of this reading?
I was hoping you got something positive, because you just put down my harmonica playing. You fucked up the whole morning. I'm trying to read you something nice to get you centered, and you all you thought about was yourself during this whole thing, right?
No.
He's a self-centered, goddamn cocksucking motherfucker.
You know what I thought about? I thought about when Aaron was talking about like code switching which is I think what you were talking about.
Code switching. She
That's
didn't
what it's
say
called. Jesus Christ, Dave, get with the program.
That,
said
that,
code
that's,
switching?
that is I didn't say it, but that's basically what I was doing. Yeah.
What's code switching?
Would you think I was going to throw something at you?
Yeah, I got scared.
No. Code switching is like when you behave one way with one group and another way with another group. And a
Where
lot
did
of
you
people-
learn that language, code switching?
I don't know. I'm just, I'm up on
Yeah.
shit that the kids are up on. But it's
He
like
said he wanted to slide into your DMs later if you were interested.
It's a survival mechanism, and I think the relationship between code switching and people feeling like they have to survive in certain situations.
No. Listen,
And this,
stop. This is a very intellectual reaction. I'm saying, what does this affect you? How do you put yourself into this?
I don't know that I do.
Well, you're all fucked up today. So what are you going to do to get out of it? Eat a nice lunch? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I think I just need. You know what it is?
Tell me.
Until
Action.
everything is like settled and
Yes.
in the order that I feel it
That
needs
you
to be.
need it to be because
I
he's
can't.
crazy.
Yeah,
You see that?
I'll
Aaron?
be uncomfortable
I
until I can
understand.
take a deep breath.
Yeah, I think you're pretty crazy too.
She gets me.
Why am I the
I
only sane
understand.
person on this show?
Oh my God. No, so wait, I just wanted to add something. So Dave and I were talking this morning about just like our own shit. And I think that the thing that I've learned after a long time in recovery is that because I can't think my way out of when I feel out of control in some area of my life, the thing that I know how to do now, which is not me thinking, it's me asking for help or taking some action that I know might get me out of it, right? And they're really basic fucking things. Drinking water, going for a walk, eating, calling somebody, doing my jigsaw puzzle. Like there's little things that I can do. And if I need help, I know how to reach out for help. I couldn't do that before. And
Take
early
an
in
action.
sobriety, I wasn't. It's just, those are all actions. They're actions because my thinking isn't going to get me what I need. I can't think my way out of feeling depressed. I can't think my way out of feeling anxious. I need to, I need to do the things that I've learned work to get me out of it.
And I want to say one last thing. I think that's great. I think that's for some advanced recovery, or that's some recovery that isn't nestled in depression or laziness or not ready to do work. And I think for those of you out there that are in that early place or aren't ready to take action, I recommend watching a lot of TV that's good. Like, just distract yourself. I recommend Boba Fett. It's amazing. Boba Fett is really good. Yeah, it's
Is it
really,
on Disney
really
or
good.
something?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus or
Yeah.
Euphoria, but that might make you relapse.
No,
so
no,
Boba
I
Fett is
can't,
safer
like,
than Euphoria.
Let me tell you something. I know everybody loves Euphoria. In a couple weeks, I'll have 19 fucking years, okay? And I feel like shitty when I watch that show. It reminds me
I thought you don't watch it.
of me. But I have watched it, or how would I know that I didn't enjoy it? Like, I think it's a really good show. I do think that it, as much, there's a little
Would
bit
you
of
say
like
it gives good kids bad ideas?
I think that there's a little bit of glamorization in the trauma pornness of it. There's a little bit of trauma porn to it for me.
Lots of it. And real porn, too.
And I,
A lot
like,
of nudity on that.
I was like I was shooting heroin at 13, but, and I
You
knew
heard that,
kids-
Howie? She was shooting heroin at 13.
I know, that's hot.
So when I see Euphoria, like, I get it, like, but like, it feels like one note, because there's like, I haven't watched past like halfway through the first season, so I don't know where it goes.
Aaron, did you
But
hear
I
Howie said
couldn't-
he thought it was hot that you shot heroin at age 13?
No, he did.
He did.
You're
He said
such a
that's hot.
liar.
I said that's
He did.
hot.
Well, you could also say that's hot because
Did
it's
you say
not.
that's a lot or that's hot?
So that's a lot.
You're lying. He said that's hot. He says two things a lot. He says that's hot, and he says that's what she said. Those are the two things he says. He
Oh
doesn't
my
say
God!
that's a
It's
lot.
like, wait, Howie, you're kind of like that's hot is like Paris Hilton circa
Yeah.
early aughts, and that's what she said is like The Office early aughts. You
He's
like
a-
caught
he's a
on to
time
these
traveler.
catchphrases
He's-
from the early aughts.
He's a time traveler, Howie. I think this has been the longest daily reflection
Yeah.
that
I
we've
know. I'm
ever
sorry.
done. Don't be sorry.
I always talk too much.
I recommend Boba Fett and Euphoria. I recommend Aaron's book, Strung Out. And please leave comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And thanks, Aaron. Stay strong,
Thank you.
Dopey Nation. Fucking thank you, Howie, for thinking
You're
it's
welcome.
hot that a 13-year-old is shooting heroin. That's really great.
Didn't say that.
That's really
I said
helpful.
That's a lot.
All right, stay strong, Dopey Nation, and fucking toodles for Chris.
Fucking toodles for Chris.
I'm face down on the floor. Dopey, please sir, can I have some more? Dopey.